Hey, I'm Morgan Richards from Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM. I'm very pleased to say that I'm backstage at the Motorpoint Arena here in Cardiff. I'm joined by none other than the folk punk giant himself, is of course Mr. Frank Turner.
Hi there. I'm not sure I've ever been called a giant before. That's very nice of you. But yes, it's nice to be in Cardiff again.
Yeah, so how are you doing, Frank?
Good, yeah. First day of the UK tour, and we did a warm-up run in Spain, but other than that, we had 5 weeks off the road, which is the longest amount of time I've taken off since 2005. So I guess I'm feeling rested.
Okay.
Well, at least in theory, I'm feeling rested. But yeah, I'm happy to be back in kind of the live arena again. It's nice.
Okay, right, awesome. So Frank, as you just said, tonight marks the first show of your biggest ever headline tour to date. We're the first time you'll be playing a full tour of arenas across the UK, including some massive and incredible venues with the likes of London's O2 Arena, with your backing band, The Sleeping Souls. And I bet you guys can't wait to be playing the shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's yes. I should also say I don't quite want to say nerves. I mean, I'm excited about the shows, but this is definitely like a new thing for us to tour at this level. And I should do a special shout out for the guys in my crew, actually, because they, there's quite a lot of work that goes into putting on a gig at this level. I mean, it's not quite you just show up with your guitar and your amps and your drum kit and play. And the guys in my crew have done an amazing job of getting us all ready, and like with the band, we're all sort of rehearsed. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, and I'm sort of, in a way, I'm kind of intrigued to see how it goes, and hopefully it'll go well.
Okay, right, awesome. And this is only the second ever headline show at an arena, because famously back in 2012 you headlined Wembley Arena to over 12,000 people, being something very special to you and a night that you'll remember throughout your whole career. I imagine it must be quite surreal for you to actually be playing and touring venues that are around the same size as that, and then overdoing it again with the London O2 Arena. Yeah.
Well, you know what I like to call the O2? I like to call it the Millennium Dome, personally.
Okay.
But no, yeah, it is. It's quite surreal. I mean, it's quite gratifying in a way, because the Wembley thing at the time was definitely this sort of one-off kind of totally unique show that wasn't sort of connected to anything else. And it, as you say, it was one of the more special nights of my life that I will remember. It's quite satisfying in a way to kind of go, now we're going to do that in more than just London. Do you know what I mean? And more than just one show, And there's a lot of people coming to the gig tonight, and it's definitely the most people we've ever played to anywhere in Wales, and that's it's exciting.
Okay, right, awesome. And you'll actually be ending this tour with a very special instrument show without your backing band, where you just be going back to basics, just you and your guitar in your very own hometown of Westchester on Valentine's Day.
Yes, yeah, the Valentine's Day part of it is a coincidence, I should add. It happens to be the day after the end of this tour. That's exciting. And the Guildhall in Winchester is a place I know very well, and my mum used to pick me up on the steps of the Guildhall if I'd been out in town when I was like 16 or whatever. The one thing about that show that was kind of interesting, there are some people who are a bit kind of uneasy, should we say, about the type of venues that we're playing on this tour. I don't want to see you playing in an arena. But the thing is, with the Winchester show, the Guildhall's the biggest venue in Winchester. It holds 800 people. Put the show on sale, it sold out in 1 minute, and then instantly there's loads of touting going on, and loads of people who wanted to come can't come to the gig. And it's kind of like, this is why we're doing the bigger places, is because I don't like it when people are excluded from the shows, and I particularly don't like it when people start trying to sell tickets for stupid amounts of money. And the only way to get around those two things is to play bigger rooms. But well, for now, I mean, and who knows? At the end of the day, I mean, I always say to people when they complain about venue size, give it 5 years, I probably won't be this popular anymore, and I'll be back playing a venue that you like again. But I'm not playing arenas because I've got an inflated sense of self. I'm playing arenas because I want the shows to be accessible.
Okay, right, awesome. And to coincide with this tour, you've also just recently released a brand new EP entitled Polaroid Picture that features the new single by the same name, along with 3 other cover tracks by the likes of bands you were very fond of, in Frightened Rabbit, Biffy Clyro, and Weather Vans. Also with a brand new song in Sweet Albion Blues.
Sweet Albion Blues, yes. Sweet Albion Blues, incidentally, is in a roundabout way an apology of sorts in song, by which I mean, I did an album called England Keep My Bones, and I know I'm obviously aware of Wales and Scotland's existence, and indeed Ireland. And there's a line in the song on that record, the song's called Rivers, and there's a line about an island is my home, but the song's about England, and of course England is not an island. England is part of a landmass with 2 other countries, and I know that, and I spent ages when I was writing that song debating whether or not to include that lyric. In the end I did, because it was good poetry, but I felt bad because I didn't want people to think I'm the kind of insensitive, ignorant idiot who doesn't know about Wales and Scotland. Do you know what I mean? So with this song, I kind of wanted to write a song that was more inclusive of the British Isles. Do you know what I mean? And Albion's the word the Romans used to describe the whole landmass, and the song mentions Cardiff and it mentions Glasgow, and it was that thing of just kind of trying to say, I know, don't worry, it's okay, I've got this. So hopefully it's more inclusive.
Okay, well, that's a fair enough point. And I actually have to say, on the EP, the tracks you've chosen to cover are very unique and quite interesting, especially with the Biffy Clyro one, because you guys have been friends for ages and go really way back. So it's quite interesting to hear your take on one of their songs.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love Biffy both as a band and as people, and like, I mean, I saw Biffy in like '98 probably, or something like that. And then Million Dead, my old band, did a bunch of stuff with them, and then they took me out on tour in 2007, I suppose it must have been. And you know, and we've crossed paths a bunch, and they're very nice people. I mean, the thing for me is that like there's not masses of point in doing a cover unless you're going to try and find a new angle on it. Certainly to record it. I mean, playing it live is a slightly different thing. If you're going to record a cover, you've got to find your own soul in the song, or else what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think that probably the original arrangement of Who's Got Match is probably better, but it was you know, it's an upbeat rock song, and so I sat down and was like, right, how can we come at this from a completely different angle?
Okay, right, cool. And of course, the title track Polaroid Picture originally features on your most recent studio album, with it being your 5th studio album, in fact, in Tape Deck Heart.
Yeah.
They released back in April of last year in 2013. And with this release, you've had a very busy year, even by your own standards, being on road completely much everywhere ever since, across the likes of Europe, the Far East, and much more. Yeah,
last year was... Even by my standards, I don't want to sound too kind of up myself, but like last year was a little much by the end of it. This is the first record that I've done licensing to major labels anywhere in the world, and the work schedule is night and day. It's so much harder. And we did 197 shows last year, and by the time we got to December, for the first time in my touring career, I was like, I need to go home. I can't do any more touring this year. And there was a moment when they were trying to bolt some more shows onto the end of the run, and I was like, no. Actually no. And again, that's the first time I've ever done that. I mean, now, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I've had time off, and now I'm kind of ready to go again. I'm excited about going again, but yeah, it was definitely, last year was intense, should we say. But I mean, the other thing is that, with the exception of a very short UK tour, this is the UK tour for Tape Deck Heart. You know, we've been in America, States, America, Canada, Europe, yeah, like you say, Far East, Australia, all that kind of thing. And it's quite nice in a way. I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not easy, but it's quite sort of relaxing to come back to your home country and then just have some nice, really big shows and just go, yeah, we've sold a load of tickets, and I'm just going to go out and sing, and everyone's going to be there, and it's going to be fun.
Okay, right, that's fair enough. And I have to say, because the album really had like a credible reaction with its release, with it debuting in #2 in the UK album charts and going silver with 2 of your previous albums.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's a kind of a massive achievement, because you did so well with your previous record, England Keep My Bones, in 2011. We mentioned that you went to headline Wembley Arena for the first time and becoming quite a big household name. It just feels like this incredible step up again, in that it's something that you've become the next phase in your career.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you think so. You know, I mean, not instantly that I necessarily plan it like that. And for me, it's very important to say that, like, when I write, I just sit down to write what feels like good songs to me, and that's the only criteria.
Yeah.
You know, and they come out how they come out, and then we can arrange everything else around that. But I don't sit down and go, now I will write an album that is for this kind of thing. That seems a bit contrived to me. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's been a long time since I surpassed what my highest expectations for my career were, and things keep going well, and I mean, it can't last forever. I'm sure it'll tail off after a while, but for the time being, it's a nice thing. I have no complaints in life. Do you know what I mean? It's a really satisfying thing. Not least because, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to do anybody else down, because I'm not, but like, I sort of feel like I've kind of put in the work to earn my place. Do you know what I mean? You know, there were long years of touring around, playing to nobody, and just trying to do things the right way. And it's nice to be here now, because I don't have any kind of sort of guilt about it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm allowed to be here.
Okay, right, fair enough. Now, you actually flew over to America to record Tape Deck Heart with producer Rich Costley in LA, with it being the first time recording outside of the UK.
Yes.
You've recently said that it's something quite cliche for bands or artists to do, that, you know, they get to a certain level and they go off to LA to record an album and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you were quite nervous about going over there.
I was. I mean, it's just because of that cliche thing, really, at the end of the day. I just don't, you know, certain bands kind of get to a level and suddenly they start singing in American accents, or sort of trying to pretend they're American in some way, and it's just rubbish. It's not what I'm interested in. It's dishonest is what it is. And I just don't want to sort of fall prey to that. I mean, you know, a lot of bands, you know, go off and you know, Elton John did it, and various other bands, you know, they sort of go off and suddenly you almost reach a point where, like, Americans don't know that they're an English band kind of thing. And I think that's sort of that's a again, it's dishonest. I don't like that. But then at the end of the day, actually, you know, the thing that was important was to record the record in the best possible place, and with the right person. And Rich was the right person. He just said, look, I work in America. This is where I work, and if you want to work with me, you come here. And so we said, okay, fine, and off we went.
Okay, fair enough. And Rich Costley is a producer who's worked with many big artists in the past, the likes of Muse, Nine Inch Nails, and much more on his resume. And I understand that he tries to get the best really out of you, because he made you and the band do multiple takes on different tracks, and actually made you do over 42 vocal takes at one point, telling you that he knows there's something in there.
Yeah, that was a trying day. Rich, I mean, you know, it's not that we haven't kind of, you know, sort of dug deep on other records that we've made, because we have, but Rich has kind of got, he's sort of a perfectionist. One of the things I like about him as well is he's kind of an auteur. Like, it's not like he has a sound. You know, some producers have a sound, you go to them and then you sound like that producer. Rich doesn't really do that. He just kind of tries to get the best out of the bands he works with, which to me is what a good producer does. And he just kind of, you know, he sort of wasn't taking any second bests of anything. Do you know what I mean? Which I thought was really cool. And that, I mean, at the time, singing Telltale Signs 42 times in a row wasn't my favourite day of my life, but I can see, in retrospect, I can see the method in his madness. I can see what he was trying to get out of me.
Yeah, because 42 takes vocally is a very long thing to do.
Yeah, it burned me out, but I mean, that was the sound he was going for, was burned out. So, and it worked.
All right, fair enough. No, Frank, one thing I wanted to mention to you was about your set at last year's Reading Leeds Festival in 2013.
Yep.
At the time, you actually had a very bad back and had to cancel a lot of European festival dates.
Yeah.
But you refused not to play Reading and Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, it was partly a timing thing in the sense that basically I slipped 2 discs in my back, which is not an experience I'd recommend. And it happened on like a Thursday, and that weekend we had a weekend of European festivals, and I literally couldn't stand up at that point in my life. So there was just no way on God's green earth we could do those. The Reading Leeds was the following weekend, and I kind of got told not to do them, but it's the, you know, Reading Leeds is kind of the centre of the rock calendar in this country. Do you know what I mean? And we had such a great slot, and I was so excited about it. So we found a way which involved epidural injections and back supports and my guitar tech learning all the songs on guitar and all this kind of thing. And it was a pretty fraught time. I'm still kind of working on fixing my back. It's still not 100% fixed, but it's nearly there.
Okay, good to hear. But Reading Leeds is a massive festival that really means quite a bit to you, and you actually paid tribute to Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain by coming on stage in a wheelchair, just like they did in their iconic Reading performance back in 1992. Yes,
for which various tedious people who need to get a hobby were trying to give me grief about on the internet. That's just. I think the thing that annoyed me about it was it's that classic thing that people do on the internet of glancing at something, not absorbing the context of it in any way, and then getting on a moral high horse about it and sending abuse to people that you don't know who are actually real human beings. You know, and it was just like, first of all, I was seriously injured, and secondly, yes, it was a tribute to Nirvana in 1992. And not that I actually feel like I should have to mention this, but I do tons of work with disabled charities of getting disabled access to gigs. All my gigs, if at all possible, have full disabled access. I know people saying it was being disrespectful to disabled. It was just kind of like, no, it isn't. Shut up. You're wrong. You're just wrong. And I got quite annoyed about that. But I mean, such is Twitter at the end of the day. But no, I mean, it was a fun little thing to do, and it was a cool show.
Okay, cool. And Frank, just one more thing before you go. I wanted to talk to you about the band Mongol Horde, which is a side project you released back in 2012.
Yeah.
Quite recently, you've announced that you've been in the studio recording some songs towards the band's debut album.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, we did some shows 18 months ago, and we've been planning on doing more ever since. But it's not a priority in my kind of scheduling. Do you know what I mean? The other thing as well is that singing that stuff rips my voice out, and I can't do it around doing normal gigs, and I've been so busy with gigs. So we finally got around to it. We've recorded the album. It's not mixed. It's being mixed as we speak, and hopefully it'll be out soon. I couldn't put a date on it, but it'll, you know, as soon as it's done, basically we'll get it out there and we'll do some more shows later this year.
Okay, right, awesome. That's good to hear. Well, that's about it. Cheers, Frank, for doing the interview.
My pleasure. Thanks for chatting.
Good luck with the show tonight and the rest of the tour, and hopefully I can catch up with you again very soon.
Yes, definitely, man. Thank you.